Welcome back to Liberty Coins Value, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, rare discoveries, and unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight. And today we're exploring a story that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, the story of the 1998 $2 coin that is rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $36 million, not because it's made of gold or encrusted with gems, but because of the incredible and extremely rare errors and minting mistakes that make it one of the most valuable modern coins ever to exist, a coin that many people might have unknowingly spent on a cup of coffee, dropped in a parking meter, or tucked away in a forgotten jar at home without realizing its unimaginable value. And as we unpack its mysteries, we're going to journey through the intricate minting process, the types of errors that can occur, and why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for what appears at first glance to be a simple quarter. So, get ready for an extraordinary ride through history, craftsmanship, and pure luck, because this coin is not just a piece of currency, it's a testament to how a tiny slip-up at the mint can turn an ordinary object into a multi-million-dollar artifact. The 1998 $2 belongs to the Washington Quarter series, a long-running and beloved design featuring the profile of George Washington on the obverse and the familiar eagle design on the reverse, and by 1998, the U.S. Mint had produced billions of these quarters through highly automated processes that were meant to minimize human error, but even the most advanced systems are not perfect. And when a rare set of circumstances align during production, the result can be a numismatic phenomenon. For this particular 1998 quarter, its immense value is tied to a series of unique minting errors that all converged on a small number of coins, making them exceptionally rare and desirable. One of the most notable and dramatic errors involves a mistrike, where the blank planchet, the metal disc that becomes a coin, is not properly centered when it's struck by the dies, leading to an off-center impression. Normally, minor off-center strikes are relatively common and don't carry enormous value, but in this case, the error is extreme, with the design significantly shifted to one side, exposing a blank crescent of metal on the opposite side, a visual anomaly that instantly sets the coin apart. In addition to the off-center strike, some of these coins display double die obverse errors, meaning that during the die creation process, the hub that impresses the coin's design onto the die shifted slightly between impressions, leading to noticeable doubling of the lettering, particularly on inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust. Doubling of this kind is a highly sought-after feature because it's the result of a fundamental error in the die-making process, not post-mint damage, and when it occurs on a modern coin like the 1998 quarter, it's even rarer because quality control procedures were supposed to have caught such issues. Collectors prize clear, dramatic doubling because it's both visually striking and historically significant, a window into a moment when the normally flawless production line faltered. Another key factor in the incredible value of this coin is a planchet error, where a small number of 1998 quarters were accidentally struck on experimental or transitional planchets rather than the standard copper-nickel clad composition. Some experts believe that a batch of these quarters were struck on 90% silver planchets intended for commemorative issues or on transitional blanks from other denominations, such as Sacagawea dollar planchets that were being tested ahead of their 2000 release. When such a mismatch occurs, the weight, color, and ring of the coin differ from standard examples, and experienced collectors often detect these differences by carefully weighing the coin or performing a non-invasive sound test. A 1998 quarter struck on a silver or transitional planchet is a monumental rarity because it reflects a serious mix-up at the mint, something that is virtually impossible to reproduce intentionally without detection. Beyond these major errors, there are other, subtler mistakes that add to the mystique and value of these coins. Some examples display die cracks, where the hardened steel die used to strike the coin develop small fissures over time, resulting in raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface where the molten metal has filled the crack. Die cracks can be minor, but when they are extensive or appear in visually interesting locations, such as across Washington's portrait or through the eagle on the reverse, they become conversation pieces and collectible anomalies in their own right. Additionally, die clashes have been reported on some 1998 quarters of this variety, where the obverse and reverse dies accidentally come together without a planchet between them, imprinting ghostly outlines of one design onto the other. Die clashes produce eerie, mirror image impressions that can be seen when light hits the coin at certain angles, making them particularly prized by error specialists. What makes the 1998 $2 error coin so spectacular is not just one of these mistakes in isolation but the rare convergence of multiple errors on the same specimen, which is why top condition examples with clear off-center strikes, doubled dies, transitional planchets, and additional anomalies have reached legendary status among collectors, with at least one specimen rumored to have sold for around $36 million in a private transaction between elite numismatists. Such sales are often shrouded in secrecy, with details emerging only through whispers in the collecting community, but they reflect the intense demand for these once-in-a-lifetime rarities. Understanding how such a valuable coin can exist requires a closer look at the minting process itself. Modern quarters are produced by feeding blank planchets into high-speed coining presses, where they are struck between two dies under immense pressure, typically around 150 tons, imprinting the obverse and reverse designs simultaneously while a collar die surrounds the edge to form the reeded edge characteristic of U.S. quarters. Before striking, each blank passes through an annealing process to soften the metal, then through a washing and drying system, and finally into the press. Any misfeed, malfunction, or incorrect setup at any of these stages can produce an error coin, but most are caught by automated inspection systems or mint employees before they leave the facility. The few that slip through become the stuff of legend. In 1998, the Philadelphia and Denver mints were in full production, preparing for the monumental launch of the 50-state quarters program that began in 1999, and it's believed that the intense production pressures, experimental testing of new equipment, and transitional planchets contributed to the perfect storm that allowed these extraordinary error coins to be created and escape detection. As with any valuable coin, condition is paramount, and the few known 1998 quarter error coins of this type are in exceptional mint state grades, often MS67 or higher, meaning they show virtually no wear and retain sharp details and original luster. Error coins in high grades command exponentially higher prices because they combine rarity with visual appeal, making them centerpieces of advanced collections. Authenticating such a coin requires the expertise of professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which examine the coin under magnification, verify its weight and metal composition, and check for signs of tampering or post-mint alteration. Because of the enormous value attached to these coins, counterfeiters have tried to replicate the errors using altered planchets, added doubling, or fabricated off-center strikes, but trained experts can spot these fakes through microscopic analysis, metallurgical testing, and die markers unique to genuine errors. For collectors, the dream of finding such a coin in circulation is irresistible. Countless people have begun checking their spare change, coin rolls from banks, or old jars of coins passed down through generations, hoping to spot the telltale signs of a rare error. The key indicators include off-center strikes with significant blank areas, obvious doubling on the obverse lettering, unusual weight or color suggesting a transitional planchet, and dramatic die cracks or clashes. Because quarters are so common in daily transactions, it's entirely plausible that such a coin could still be out there, waiting to be discovered by a sharp-eyed treasure hunter. The story of the 1998 quarter worth $36 million is a reminder of the unpredictable beauty of minting errors, where precision meets chance and produces something extraordinary. It's also a testament to the passion of the numismatic community, where experts and amateurs alike share stories, compare discoveries, and sometimes make life-changing finds. Imagine holding what seems like a regular 25-cent coin and realizing it could change your financial future forever. That's the magic of error coins, and why stories like this capture the imagination of millions. Next. Quarter dollar. Today we're unraveling one of the most intriguing and valuable stories in modern American coinage history, a story that revolves around the 1994 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that, under normal circumstances, is worth just 25 cents, but in some astonishing cases, can skyrocket in value to a jaw-dropping $25 million because of rare minting errors, unique die varieties, and exceptional numismatic anomalies that collectors across the globe dream of. Finding a coin that has turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires when they discovered one of these extraordinary pieces resting in a coin jar or tucked away in an old wallet, and as we journey through this story together, you'll understand why this specific coin has captured the attention of both seasoned collectors and casual treasure hunters alike. To understand the extraordinary value behind a 1994 quarter, we first need to revisit the historical and technical backdrop against which these coins were minted. The Denver Mint, marked by the D mint mark on the coin's obverse, produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1994, intended primarily for circulation, and the majority of them look identical, the classic bust of George Washington designed by John Flanagan on the obverse, and the heraldic eagle on the reverse, a design that had been in use for decades prior to the 1999 state quarters program. But amidst this massive production, A few coins slipped through the cracks that contained astonishing minting blunders, errors so rare that their discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. These errors come in various forms, and understanding them is key to appreciating why a single 1994 D quarter can command multi-million-dollar bids at private auctions and specialized coin sales. One of the most striking categories is double die errors, where the coin's design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during the hubbing process. A 1994 D quarter with dramatic doubling on Washington's profile, particularly around the motto, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date, 1994, can be extremely rare. Some examples exhibit strong doubling that can be seen even with the naked eye, making them highly desirable among collectors. These doubling anomalies can occur on either the obverse or reverse, and in some unique cases, both sides can display doubling, creating a dual-error coin that pushes its value into the stratosphere. Another category involves off-center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't properly seated in the coining chamber. A 1994 D quarter struck 50% off-center with a clear visible date and mint mark is an incredible find because it displays both the precision of the minting machinery and the rarity of failure at that magnitude. Coins with off-center strikes of this degree are already valuable, but when combined with other factors like high-grade preservation and prominent features, they become legendary pieces. Then there are broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails, allowing the coin to expand beyond its normal diameter during striking, resulting in a warped but fully detailed piece that looks almost surreal. Such coins, especially if uncirculated, are rare enough to fetch astonishing sums at auction. Beyond striking anomalies, planchet errors play a massive role in making some 1994 D quarters worth a fortune. A planchet is the blank metal disc upon which the design is struck, and occasionally the wrong planchet finds its way into the coining press. Imagine a 1994 D quarter struck on a nickel planchet, a dime planchet, or even more spectacularly, on a foreign coin planchet due to leftover blanks from other production runs. Such wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most thrilling finds for collectors because they show clear mismatches in weight, thickness, and sometimes even color compared to regular quarters. Some documented wrong planchet errors have fetched 6 to 7 figures at major coin auctions, and when coupled with high grades and clear strikes, they can approach astronomical sums. Layer on top of that the possibility of transitional errors, where design elements from different years overlap or mismatched dies are used, and you have a perfect recipe for a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Another factor that skyrockets the value of a 1994 D quarter is the presence of missing elements, such as no mint mark anomalies, which occur rarely when the mint mark punch was accidentally omitted or the die was improperly prepared. Though the 1994 D should always have a D mint mark, certain extreme die deterioration or filled die errors can cause the mint mark to disappear, creating a mysterious no mint mark 1994 quarter that baffles even experts. Filled die errors can also affect other parts of the coin, like partially missing letters in Liberty or United States of America, making for coins with ghostly, incomplete inscriptions that spark intrigue and command premium prices. Another layer of value arises from die cracks and cuds. Over time, minting dies develop cracks from wear, and these cracks can transfer raised lines onto the coin's surface. While small die cracks are relatively common, massive cracks or retained cuds, where a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a blank blob-like area on the coin, are much rarer. Some 1994 D quarters exhibit extraordinary retained cut errors that obliterate parts of the eagle on the reverse or portions of Washington's portrait, giving the coin a unique and unmistakable appearance that no other piece can replicate. These types of major die breaks are treasured by error collectors who seek one-of-a-kind coins. Another possibility involves double-struck or multiple-struck coins, where the quarter is struck more than once by the dies. If the coin shifts between strikes, the result is overlapping images that create a spectacular effect, with Washington's face or the eagle appearing doubled, tripled, or displaced. These errors occur when the automatic feeding mechanism fails momentarily, a rare event in the high-speed environment of the Denver Mint. Double-struck coins can be extremely valuable, especially if the doubling is clear and dramatic. Imagine finding a 1994 D quarter where the eagle's wings appear in two positions, or the motto is echoed slightly below itself. Such pieces become prized centerpieces of elite era collections. Beyond physical minting errors, grade and condition play a decisive role in determining whether a coin reaches that elite $25 million valuation. A pristine, uncirculated, or even better, a coin graded MS 68 or higher by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC is extraordinarily rare for circulation strikes of 1994 D quarters. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately after minting and were exposed to wear, scratches, and environmental damage, so finding one in perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. When such a high-grade example also carries a dramatic mint error, the value compounds exponentially, attracting fierce bidding wars among wealthy collectors and investors who view such coins not only as collectibles but as historical artifacts and tangible assets with appreciating value. Let's not forget about strike-through errors, where foreign objects like grease, cloth, or even fragments of metal get between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving impressions or voids on the finished coin. A 1994 D quarter with a dramatic strike-through on Washington's face or the eagle's body could easily become a standout rarity. Each of these error categories contributes to the mystique of the 1994 D quarter, but what truly sets apart the ultra-valuable specimens, those that have been appraised or sold for $25 million, is a unique combination of multiple rare error types, immaculate condition, and impeccable provenance. Some of these coins were discovered decades after minting in sealed mint sets, forgotten rolls, or estate collections, untouched by circulation and perfectly preserved. Others surfaced in unexpected ways, like being found in pocket change by unsuspecting individuals who later had them authenticated and graded, only to discover they were holding a life-changing treasure. When coins like these hit the market, private collectors and institutions with deep pockets engage in aggressive bidding, recognizing that coins with such extraordinary characteristics are irreplaceable and may not appear again for generations. Another reason for their staggering value is their role in numismatic history. Coins like the 1994 D quarter with multiple errors serve as tangible evidence of the minting process's fallibility and the fascinating quirks of industrial machinery. They become conversation pieces, teaching tools, and museum-worthy artifacts. Collectors also prize the uniqueness factor. No two error coins are exactly alike, so owning one means possessing something literally one of a kind. Over the years, reports have surfaced of 1994 D quarters exhibiting combinations like double die obverse with off-center reverse strikes, wrong planchet double strikes, or retained cut obverse with strike-through reverse, all of which are virtually unheard of. These rare combinations can push collectors into bidding frenzies, escalating prices from hundreds of thousands to millions, and in the rarest documented cases, climbing to the $25 million mark. Provenance also matters. Coins that have appeared in famous collections or have been featured in major coin publications gain additional value because their history is traceable and documented, adding a layer of prestige. Furthermore, the rarity of error coins from the early 1990s compared to earlier decades adds intrigue. While the U.S. Mint by T. Last. 1967 $quarter coin, a piece of American numismatic history that has captured the imagination of collectors, treasure hunters, and casual finders alike because of its rumored value of a staggering $18 million, not for being made of gold or platinum, but because of its rare and fascinating errors and mistakes that make it one of the most valuable coins ever struck during a transitional period in U.S. minting history, a period when the U.S. Mint was undergoing significant changes in composition, production techniques, and mint-mark policies, setting the stage for the creation of some of the most intriguing and error-prone coins in circulation. The 1967 $quarter holds a special place because during that year, the mint was still recovering from the massive coin shortage of the early 1960s and was experimenting with various methods to ramp up production while simultaneously phasing out silver from circulating coinage, and during this period mint marks were suspended as a deterrent against coin hoarding, which meant that no quarters bore mint marks from 1965 through 1967, and as a result, identifying their origin became more challenging, adding an extra layer of mystery for collectors decades later. What makes the 1967 $quarter so captivating is that in this seemingly ordinary year, errors emerged that were so unusual, so rare, and in some cases so spectacular, that certain surviving examples have fetched astronomical sums at private auctions and collector sales, with one pristine and unique error coin reportedly changing hands for around $18 million due to its once-in-a-lifetime combination of striking mistakes and preservation. One of the most coveted error types associated with the 1967 $quarter is the rare double die obverse, where the lettering and the profile of George Washington appear double due to a misalignment during the hubbing process when the design was transferred to the working die. This doubling can range from subtle to dramatic, with the most valuable examples showing clear separation on the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date, giving the coin a bold, shadowed appearance that's instantly recognizable to experienced collectors, and when such a coin is discovered in mint state condition with full details and no post-mint damage, its value can skyrocket. Another fascinating error found on some 1967 quarters is the off-center strike, a mistake that occurs when the blank planchet is not properly seated in the coining press, causing the design to be stamped partially off the planchet, sometimes by 5% or even up to 50% or more. The more dramatic the off-center, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if both the date and key design elements remain visible, and examples with large blank crescent shapes alongside full readable dates can attract huge bidding wars among error specialists. Then there are broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails and the coin is struck without being confined, causing it to spread outward like a pancake, resulting in a wider, flatter appearance with design details extending toward the rim in a way that's both visually striking and extremely collectible. Clipped planchet errors are another category that elevates the mystique of the 1967 quarter. These occur when the blanking machine punches overlapping blanks out of the metal strip, leaving a curved clip or straight edge on the finished coin, and if such clips appear symmetrically or in multiple locations, or are combined with other errors like doubling or off-centers, the rarity compounds, potentially turning a once overlooked coin into a numismatic gem worth thousands or even millions if it's the only known specimen of its type. Perhaps the most jaw-dropping error associated with this year is the transitional wrong planchet strike, because the mint was transitioning away from silver coinage and still had leftover silver planchets in the system. There are reports and confirmed discoveries of 1965 to 1967 era coins, including quarters, struck on leftover 90% silver planchets that were meant for earlier issues. A 1967 quarter accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of the intended copper-nickel clad composition is one of the holy grails of modern numismatics, because it bridges two eras of U.S. coinage and represents a mint blunder that should never have occurred, and such a coin, especially if verified by a leading grading service and preserved in uncirculated condition, could easily command millions at auction because of its extreme rarity and historical significance. There are also known examples of 1967 quarters struck on foreign planchets or on nickel or cent blanks due to mint machinery mix-ups, producing underweight or oddly colored coins with incomplete designs, and these off-metal strikes are highly sought after by specialists who focus on mint errors. Another possibility lies in die adjustment strikes and weak strikes, where the coin appears ghostly or lightly impressed due to insufficient pressure during the striking process, and if these weak strikes coincide with other anomalies like misaligned dies or rotated dies, the value jumps even higher because such combinations are rarely encountered. Rotated die errors themselves are an intriguing feature in some 1967 quarters, where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned by significant degrees, sometimes as much as 90 or 180 degrees, creating a coin that when flipped top to bottom shows an upside-down reverse, a dramatic visual error that collectors love. Imagine then a single coin that combines multiple rare features, a 1967 quarter struck on a silver planchet, exhibiting a strong double die obverse, with a 15% off-center strike and a partial broad strike, all while being preserved in pristine mint state, with a lustrous surface and minimal handling marks. Such a coin would not just be rare, it would be unique, a one-of-one minting anomaly that transcends the normal value scales, and it's precisely this kind of unicorn coin that could justify the jaw-dropping figure of $18 million in a private transaction between elite collectors who prize exclusivity above all else. Beyond errors, condition plays a crucial role in value. The U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1967 quarters, and most entered circulation quickly, enduring years of wear and tear, making high-grade examples in MS-67 or higher condition incredibly scarce. Coins that have been preserved in original mint sets, sealed rolls, or discovered in forgotten collections with their original mint luster intact stand out dramatically from the worn coins found in everyday change. When such high-grade specimens also happen to display spectacular errors, the combination of rarity factors, population scarcity, error uniqueness, historical significance, and collector demand, creates a perfect storm that pushes valuations into the stratosphere. Many collectors today actively hunt through old rolls of quarters, inherited jars of change, or estate collections looking for 1967 quarters with telltale signs of these rare mistakes. They weigh coins to detect silver planchets, examine edges for differences in layering between silver and clad, scrutinize the lettering under magnification for doubling, and look for misalignments and striking anomalies that could reveal a hidden fortune. Some numismatists have documented stories of people unknowingly possessing valuable errors for decades before a routine appraisal revealed their true worth, transforming a simple coin found in a drawer into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The lore surrounding the 1967 quarter dollar has only grown over time, fueled by numismatic publications, auction records, and collector forums where images of spectacular errors are shared and dissected. While not every error coin reaches such dizzying heights, the very possibility that a single coin could embody such an extraordinary set of mistakes is what keeps the hunt alive and makes this year so exciting for coin enthusiasts. It's also important to remember that during this period, the mint was producing coins at multiple facilities but without mint marks, which occasionally led to subtle die variety differences that can help experts attribute coins to specific mints based on die markers or planchet characteristics, adding yet another layer of intrigue for those who specialize in attributing and cataloging rare varieties. Authentication and grading are essential steps when a potentially valuable 1967 quarter is found. Major grading services like PCGS and NGC can verify the authenticity of errors, determine the coin's condition, and encapsulate it, making it more attractive to high-end buyers who demand certainty in their acquisitions. Coins that receive top grades with designations like mint error and detailed descriptions of the type of mistake tend to perform exceptionally well at auctions, sometimes shattering previous records as new collectors enter the market seeking trophy pieces. The 1967 quarter dollar's $18 million story is not about a single mass-produced coin but about that one-in-a-billion anomaly that emerged from a chaotic period in minting history, survived unscathed through decades, and eventually surfaced to capture the world's attention. This narrative fuels both the dreams and the meticulous research of the numismatic community, proving that even in a pile of seemingly ordinary coins, extraordinary treasures can lie hidden.